Hi everyone, I'm back. I was starting on the watercolor where I'm going to use this, I call it a stencil. I get a lot of comments saying, no, Annemarie, it's not a stencil, it's a mask. I know, but I just call it a stencil because you can use it any way you want to. And this time I'm just going to test out a couple of ways. I'm not going to make a complete watercolor. What I did is I took this mask and I put it on the paper and I traced it with a pencil. Now I have it here, and what you can do is get one of these, zippity doo dah. This is a Molotov 2.0, 2 millimeters. This is a masking pen, and you have to shake it up a little before you start using it, and then you sort of, pump, because as you can see it's still totally white. So you pump. Oh, let me not pump that one. Let me pump another one because I have another one. So you shake it up because this stuff separates in the chamber. Then you pump it, and then you just, if you want to do this, you want to do all kinds of background, then you just trace what you did with your pencil like that, and it will bring on some of that really latexy sort of a mask. It'll put that on, as you can see. And if you're doing something really fine, you'll have to pump it up when you're using it. You'll feel the resistance change as you're using it, and then it's a sign that you have to give it a little pump. So what you're doing is really just outlining where you don't want the paint to go, your watercolors, just like that. And you can just do the whole cogwheel thing, and then you can come in with some watercolors. Let me just finish one part, then I'll show you what I mean. It dries pretty fast, but it has to be a nice continuous border for what I'm going to show you. So it has to be really fully intact, because you don't want any watercolor coming under it. Now, what you need is a good brush, and a cup with a little bit of water, like that. And what I like to do first is come in here and just wet the paper. Just make sure that you stay outside of those lines, and maybe not so tight. Just make sure that this whole bit is wet. And the good thing when you're doing this is to have a light, because if you have light and it shines on the paper, you'll know exactly where you've been and where you've not been. So that's kind of cool. It helps. Just like that. Now, that's it. Then you get the watercolor you want to use, and really it's not that important which one you use. I'm going to be using, let's do some crimson, because that really shows up on the video. But make sure, as I can see now, some parts are already dried, so the paper has taken up all that moisture. And before you start putting this on, you have to make sure that it's nice and wet, because that's the way you want to have it. Okay, now what I then do is take, let's shake this. I don't think I shook it. Always shake everything that is fluid, you just shake it. Now I put that on, see how it works? And you don't want to be too close to that masking line, because the color will just, you know, soak right up to there. And you just put it on like this. And absolutely make sure you don't go over the line, because then you'll really see that. So I'm dripping on the color on the brush. Whoops, almost went over the line there. And maybe give it a little bit more color close to the cogwheels. Now that's the first one. Then you might want to clean your brush. Then I'm really looking for something really dark, something brown and dark. Yeah, let's do some really dark color. That's nice. This is a really dark gray. Now again, I'm putting a little drop on my brush here and just tapping it in. Then cleaning the brush again. Should be a little bit cleaner, but this is just, you know, for to show you what I'm trying to do. So as you see, the colors now are sort of merging together, and some parts are going to be a lot darker than others. There you go. And when you want to pull the colors, all you have to do is make sure your brush is nice and dry. And you can do that with any piece of fabric you have. Then when you lay it down here, you'll just see the paint all soak up into the brush. That's for when you overdid it with color or something like that. You can just pull it back out. Now that'll give a nice little, I don't know, it's sort of something that, you know, it'll make it pop. And then when you want to color the cogwheels, you wait till the whole background is dry. Then you take off that masking tape stuff, and then you can color the cogwheels. Now another way to use this, it's all wet, but that doesn't matter. We're just showing you what to do. Another way is really easy. You get your mask like this, and let's see, what color can we use? I'm going to use blue because I love blue. As you can hear, there's a little metallic ball in this spray, and whenever you have that, you really got to make sure that you really shake it up, because that's a sign that the factory knows that the fluid separates inside the bottle. They wouldn't put that in if it wasn't the case. So shake it all up. Oops, I got a little clogged. There's nothing coming out. So now we have a little problem. I don't have a needle, but I need a needle to put it in here. Let's see if I can wash it out. I'm hoping that it'll be, that I can open it just with a little bit of water. Nope, not working. Okay, next color. Yeah, this one works. So if you're going for a little really nice spattery sort of a background, just like this, we're putting it on. Let's see if this one's still open. Yep, this one's open too. But watch out, because you don't want to, you know, totally soak that paper, because then it'll go just straight under your mask, and you don't want that. A little bit of black, you know, just to give it some really steampunky sort of a background. Normally I would say leave it like this, let it dry before you lift off the mask. But because you're watching and don't have time to do that, because I'm not going to stop the video. That's my dog you're hearing. She wants to go back inside. So what you do is normally wait, but right now I'll just take it off. Now, this is what happens when you take it off when it's wet. You get, you know, you almost can't avoid it, because there will be some that you'll just push over, but that's okay, because you can fix that later. But what I would normally do is just wait till the whole thing is dry and then start working with it. If you don't like the spattery background, what you can do is just get your brush again and just, you know, with your brush, really slowly start merging those colors. And I sort of like this color. It's really beautiful, dark brown. Can you hear my dog? My hubby went to the shop to bring the packages to the post office. And usually she'll be on the table waiting for him. So that's why she's a little bit anxious. She wants to go lay on the table. I don't care. She can lay on the table. Now, as you can see over here, it gives a whole different look when you just, you know, make it all come out like that. Now, another thing that I'd like to show you, and it's really like a no-brainer, but you know, you have to see it to think about it. I have a beautiful set of pencils, and I'll get them. This is my set, and it is, I've shown you before, it's Derwent Inktense, and Inktense it really is. I will show you a color. Let's see this one. I'm gonna throw this out anyway, but you know, it's just for showing you guys. So when you can use it as a coloring pencil. This is a very dark purple, and you could like color in something. Then when you come in with your brush and it's wet, look at that. Is that color or what? That's unbelievable. I'm so happy with these pencils. The thing is that they're expensive. Yes, of course they are. But I've had them for about 6 or 7 years, and I do use them. So it's not like I have them in my cupboard and never use them. But they are so intense, and that's the name of them, of course. Inktense. Then just come back in here, see? And then it just behaves like watercolor. That's kind of cool. There we go. Then that's a really light pink. Then we have a little bit more fuchsia color. As you can see. Now the good thing is they have a lot of colors. And the bad thing is that, you know, just looking at the pencil, you will never ever get the real color from the pencil that what you get on the paper when you make it wet. So what I like to do, and I do that for a lot of stuff I have, I like to make something like this. And I'm sure it's going to help you tons. You know, sometimes you just have time to do something and not to make a whole painting or anything like that. That's when you can make one of these. As you can see, I put a string on it, and these are all the colors that are in the box. As you can see, I put the name on it, and I put on a little bit of the color, and that way you really know which when you pick out a pencil, you'll really know what you're gonna get. This one's a little stuck together. Don't know why that is. I must have done something to it. I don't know. See, that's really beautiful. They're really beautiful pencils. And buying a box of these, you'll have pencils for I don't know how many years. And they act like watercolor or normal pencils. And once dry, you can come back in and, go over them. Because this isn't dry yet, but, if you just come back in, give it a little more color. Maybe you want to put a little border around it. Well, I'm sure you get the idea, because it's just endless. Just wait for it to dry, otherwise you get the mark. But when it's dry, you can just do it again, and you can layer it after layer after layer, and it keeps getting on more vibrant and more color. And if you're a mixed media person, I'm pretty sure you'll really love these things, because they come in so many different colors, as you can see. And you'll be just as happy with them as I am. Okay guys, now there it is. Here you can see where I used the water. This is just the background. I'll show you up close what it looks like out of one of those, see that? Out of those spray cans. That's pretty cool. It gives a sort of an industrial look. And then when you come in with a brush, it'll give you the watercolor look. Of course, I could use my pencils. This is a really dark brown one, and just come in here and outline everything with just pencil. As you can see, whoops, you're not in focus. As you can see, it brings the depth out, and it's all fun to do. So there you go. That's another way you can use the mask stencil thing. Of course, this is all now going to, yeah, well, that's because it's wet. But I'm going to be building up the background really worked out fine yesterday. Here it is. It's almost dry. A little bit in the middle here is wet. I can feel it. It's a bit tacky, and then you know it's not dry yet. But I think this is a pretty nice blab background that doesn't pull too much attention from the thing I'm gonna put on it. So, and it's nice and muted. I think there are not too many colors that are really wham in your face, and that's what you want to look for when you're gonna put something on top, because too many colors and too much attention pulling things in the pour. It will just make your the thing you put on top of it just less interesting. So I want the focus to really go to those cogwheels, because I want to bring them out with some metallic paint. Oh, here's my hubby back. I want to bring them back in metallic paint, and I want them to pop off this background, and that's really what I want to do. Okay, guys. I'm gonna stop right here. I'll be back tomorrow. Love you all to pieces. Lieve euch alle. Hou voor jullie allemaal. See you next time.